Hello everyone, welcome to our July Alpha 40 recap monthly league and our August deck tech video. What you're looking at here is the 40 cards that we played in our July monthly league, and it did a lot better than the blue-red burn. This is a second version of blue-red burn. We picked up a few more disintegrates last month and added them to the deck, and it did pretty good. It went 0-3 again, but we did have two very close matches. We had one match against a very similar blue-red burn deck that was using Prodigal Sorcerers and Orcish Artillery to do some direct damage, in addition to the Psy Blasts and Lightning Bolts and burn spells, X spells, and we were very close. We got to the third game and maybe lost by 1 or 2 life points. The second match we played in person versus a mono red deck that I thought we were going to do much worse too, but we ended up going to game 3 as well. That deck utilized Power Surge and Mana Flare to generate additional mana and then force your opponent to take damage when their lands were untapped. Luckily we had the X spells, so we were able to kind of get around Power Surge. But I did realize that Power Surge is super good against control decks that use Counterspell, where those players want to keep 2 blue mana open at all times to counterspell cards. And if you have Power Surge on the battlefield, playing field, your opponent would take 2 damage for their 2 untapped islands if they weren't able to counter something. So Power Surge is really good against counterspell decks, so we're not going to play Counterspell. We're actually shifting more towards red than we are blue-red. And the final deck we played was a really tough red-black Winter Orb Icy Manipulator, kind of a prison deck. We weren't sure what they were playing in the first game, and we copy Artifact. I think we played a Juggernaut instead of copying. We had 4 mana before we cast anything, and we could have cast Chaos Orb and copy Artifacted, but instead we played Juggernaut, and then they put the Winter Orb down and locked us out of mana for the rest of the first game. And then the second game, we didn't have any answers to the Icy combination. So this month, as you've seen on the channel, we've been picking up some other alpha cards. Mostly Fireballs is what we've been picking up. We did pick up a few Disintegrates and Mountains. So today's deck tech video is going to be a quick swap of some cards to make this blue-red build more of a mono-red build. We're going to splash a few off-color cards to keep our opponents guessing and keep some of our favorite cards in the deck as well. The first thing we're going to do is take out, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 islands in the deck. We're going to take out 4 of those and put in 4 mountains, regular mountains, and they're all going to match the other artwork at the top there. So we'll have 10 mountains in the deck, 1 island, which is 11, plus we'll have 5 dual lands to give us the off-colored mana we need to cast Time Twister, Regrowth, or Disenchant. I did have one cool interaction last month where I cast, they had an Icy Manipulator on the battle on the playing field in my third match. I think it was the third game of the third match, and I copy artifacted their Icy Manipulator, and then I disenchanted their Icy Manipulator, so they did not have an Icy Manipulator. And I thought that was kind of interesting because that cost 2 colorless, a blue and a white, 4 mana total converted casting costs, CCM, and I essentially copy artifacted, or technically it was like a steal artifact, but for less mana, no 2 blue mana. So the normal steal artifact is 2 colorless, 2 blue, and you gain control of their artifact. But with copy artifact and disenchant, I was able to create a copy of the Icy Manipulator and destroy their Icy Manipulator to the same effect as stealing their Icy Manipulator. And I did not need 2 blue mana to do that. I just needed 1 blue mana and 1 white mana. and 2 colorless. So that was kind of fun. I really enjoyed that. We have a couple of cards also to put in the deck. We're gonna take out these blue burn spells and put in red burn spells instead. So let's go ahead and take out Psionic Blast number 1. We'll put in Fireball number 1, which will be Fireball number 2 in our deck. And we'll take out Psionic Blast number 2 to put in Fireball number 3. And then we will also take out Psionic Blast number 3 and put in Fireball number 4. Psionic Blast worked well, but it does damage to us. So there was one game in the third match where I had 2 Psionic Blasts in my hand. I had 5 or 6 mana on the table, but I did not have 2 blue mana, and my opponent had the Icy Manipulator, and he tapped down my Tundra, and so I was unable to double Psionic Blast that turn to win. Actually, I had an island and a Tundra, and he Icy Manipulated the Tundra, so I couldn't tap it for blue mana. I probably could have floated the mana, but I don't know if it was my turn. Probably was on his turn. He was a much better opponent than I was, so I'm getting better at Alpha 40. The deck is actually getting easier to pilot, I think. We'll also put in another burn spell. Let's put in this other Disintegrate, and let's take out Copy Artifact. Copy Artifact is one of my favorite cards in Alpha and Old School, but we just need to make room for these burn spells this month. So let's put in this Disintegrate. So we have 4 Disintegrates, 3 Lightning Bolts, 4 Fireballs. That's the burn package we're gonna run in August. I will upload this video at the middle to end of August after the league matches have completed, so my opponents can't see what I'm playing in the deck this month. But I will not make any changes per the rules, so this is what you see is what we're gonna roll with for the month, and we'll see how it does. And then, per usual, we will report back in mid-August to let you know how it did and let you know if we're gonna make any changes to September. And then October will be our 1-year anniversary on YouTube. We hope to have 365 videos up by October. And then after that, we will head to MagicCon Las Vegas in September and make a bunch of content in Las Vegas. The last 2 cards, we're gonna keep all 3 Black Vices because we wanna Time Twister into Black Vice and make them take 9 damage with 7 cards in hand when we have 3 Black Vices on the table. This Time Twister could actually be a Wheel of Fortune. So I'm thinking that in Vegas, we'll try to find a Wheel of Fortune, and maybe this could be another mountain instead of an island. And we won't need blue mana, so we could take out the Tropical Island, we could take out the Tundra, and we could just splash the Regrowth and the Disenchant with white and green. And since there is no Volcanic Island in Alpha, red-blue is actually at a disadvantage because we can't play that dual land that would let us cast Time Twister or any of the red spells. So the last 2 artifacts that we want to put in, we're going to definitely keep Soul Ring, definitely keep Howling Mind because we want them drawing cards into Black Vice. We definitely want to keep Chaos Orb as a destruction spell because we don't want to play Armageddon or Balance because we want them to keep cards in their hand. Basalt Monolith, Rod of Ruin, Juggernaut, and other Juggernaut should come out. I would think I was going to swap 1 Juggernaut here for this Jade Statue because Jade Statue is not a creature when it's not active, so that way it avoids being targeted by creature spells. So we have a threat diversity here with these 2, and Juggernaut was good for kind of plowing down small creatures. Cast it for 4, and it has to attack every turn. The other card that was not so good was Rod of Ruin. We never got to play that. So instead, we're gonna need the Iron Star, the Charm to gain life and stay alive in the game. We'll keep Basalt Monolith. That could also be a burn spell if we needed an additional Fireball or Disintegrate, but we're gonna stay symmetrical for this month, we're going to go 4 and 4 with 3 lightning bolts and see if that makes an advantage. And then we're going to look for Wheel of Fortune, and at some point we might take out Time Twister and just make it a mono red deck, splashing Regrowth and Disenchant. Regrowth would be for the draw spell card. Once we cast Time Twister or Wheel of Fortune, we would like to regrow that from the graveyard and cast it one more time, just to ensure that they take 6 to 9 damage from the Black Vices. So that's the deck for the month. I will do a quick shuffle. I'll see if we can do a goldfish for you today. We have a few minutes, and then I gotta go. But it's been fun sharing the updates in this deck. Let me know in the comments if you think mono red is stronger than blue red. Would you want to play this deck in Alpha 40? Let me know. Would you want to play opposite this deck and face it in an Alpha 40 league? Let me know as well. All right, so that's just a quick shuffle. We'll do our 3 piles. Maybe we put this one on top of that one on top of that one. We draw our 7. Alpha 40, you roll for high. You roll for to see who goes first. High roll usually wins, or odds or evens. And we have red mana, red spells, artifacts, and a Time Twister. So we'll draw first on our turn. We're going to start with a mountain and a Black Vice. Pass to our opponent, they will be at 17 life. Untap, draw. Let's play. We got Tundra, which is great for the Time Twister. So this deck will have 3 blue sources because we have 1 basic island. 2 blue duals for the 1 blue card. We'll also have Tundra, Savannah, Plateau, 3 white sources for the Disenchant, and then we'll have 3 green sources, Taiga, Savannah, and Tropical Island for the Regrowth. So we'll play a land this turn. We could Fireball them, or we could play an Iron Star. So let's just drop another mountain. We'll keep them guessing. We'll tap the mountain for an Iron Star, and then we'll pass the turn. They'll take 2 damage, be at 15. Untap, draw. We got a Basalt Monolith. Let's play a Plateau. Let's not let them know we have blue mana yet. We'll surprise them. We could play a Fireball and gain a life. We could also just do 2 damage with the Fireball. Put them at 13, pass the turn. They'll take 1 damage from the Vice, in theory, be at 12, pass it back to us. We have a Savannah, it could be good too. Fireball, Basalt Monolith. Let's go ahead and do this. I like to put the Tundra down. I will tap 3 colorless mana for the Basalt Monolith, which adds 3 colorless mana to my mana pool. I'm gonna go ahead and tap that for 3 colorless and tap the Tundra for blue. Play Time Twister now and float with the one colorless mana from that. So Time Twister resolves, it goes into its graveyard, and then your hand and your graveyard and your library all get shuffled together. Now Basalt Monolith you have to pay 3 to untap it. So usually just get, you kind of pay the mana into the Basalt Monolith, use it to cast an X spell or Time Twister as we did there. And then later in the game when we don't cast anything and have 3 extra mana available on their end step, we'll use it on our upkeep and untap the Basalt Monolith, and then have three colorless mana available for our next Fireball or Disintegrate. Okay, cut, shuffle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll just draw those 7. We have 1 colorless mana available. We want to find a Black Vice, and we did not find a Black Vice. We're out of mana, so we take a damage. I guess you could pump it into the Iron Star, but there's no red spells cast, so then we'll pass. Turn, we're at 19. They're at 12. This will stay tapped. We'll untap our lands. draw for our next turn. We'll play another mountain. We can add Howling Mine is great. Let's tap 2 mountains. We'll play Howling Mine so they draw 2 next turn. We can Fireball and Disintegrate. So let's just go ahead and we'll tap red and 2 colorless. We'll Disintegrate them or a creature. Let's just do 2 to them. Put them at 10. Pass the turn. We just time twisted, so they're probably taking 3 from the vice. They'll be at 7. It's our turn. We'll untap. We'll draw 2 from the Howling Mine. Let's play a Savannah so we have access to green. Let's go ahead and tap a mountain. We'll lightning bolt them. Put them at 4 life. And then let's just go ahead and tap the plateau for red and 4 colorless. And we'll try to Fireball for the win. That's it. Awesome. So we're gonna try this mostly red burn deck, splashing blue, green, and white for Time Twister, Regrowth, and Disenchant. We'll let you know how it does next month. Wish us luck. Leave us a comment below. Give us a like and the subscription if you want to see the review, how this deck plays out after we get all our matches in. Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.